All right, people, get ready because there is a train coming and it's going to be called the Great Bitcoin Flipping. And I'm going to lay it down for you with some of this freaking legal framework that's about to snap your heads right back. When it happens, it's going to be freaking massive. And I'm going to lay it down here. We got two major laws in the United States that have come about. One is the Clarity Act that's coming up very, very soon. It is coming up on January 15th. We've got a basically meeting in Congress, and they're going to do committees, and they're going to argue back and forth in the Senate and debate about pushing this legislation forward and finalizing it. Now, it's got a ton of massive support by the Trump administration right now, as is. The likelihood of people reading the bill in the Senate is unlikely. It's, I would say, a higher likelihood of success that it's going to pass because people don't really understand it. Now, we're going to have a lot of people lobbying from the sides of Coinbase, for example, Brian Armstrong and others, against such a bill because it's going to basically create such a big separation potentially between the requirements for who could potentially be a security and a commodity. Now, inside this bill, you've got a definition of a mature blockchain. And a mature blockchain is going to be defined as a blockchain that's not controlled by any central party. It can't have been started or originated by one single person. Can't have had premines. I've gone through the bill in detail, in great excruciating detail in about a 15-minute video. I'll put it at the end if you want to watch it, where I do an analysis. The main thing I want to draw attention to right now is the January 15th committee hearings in the Senate, because this is going to be a lobbying opportunity for those who are interested in lobbying for the original Bitcoin's protocol to just put a little peace of mind inside the Senate and say, look, let's get the legislation passed as is, put a stamp on it, and get it out there and see what happens with the free market decide. Because what the Clarity Act is going to do is it's going to set forth a requirement for, Bitcoin Core, for example, BTC Core, to come forward and make a statement, a declaration under penalty of perjury. So Greg Maxwell will have to come forward under penalty of perjury once and for all and tell the whole world why BTC Core is not centrally controlled, why it's following the white paper, how it's been on that original, vision of Bitcoin the whole time. It's never gone off path. They didn't change the whole thing and make it a different altcoin. This will be really a great opportunity for him to make all these true and correct statements under penalty of perjury, before the high Congress. I'm excited to see this because it's going to finally put the pedal to the guys like Greg, who have sworn that this protocol that he's championed about, called BTC, is following the white paper. It's following the vision of Bitcoin. It's got the name, and that's all that matters. So it'll be a real big takeaway when this Clarity Act comes forward on the 15th of January. I want to draw some attention to it, so please get this video out there. Watch the video I got at the end. It's going to break this sucker down more. I want to talk a little further about what's going on also with the Genius Act. Yeah, so before Bo Hines left the executive, working under the Trump administration, he had written up a long paper, like 146 pages, discussing this legislation, the Genius Act. I think Bo Hines was actually the author of the entire Genius Act. I'm pretty sure he was, the whole law. Now, he also wrote the paper thereafter, so he's a real smart guy, understands this stuff incredibly well. He wrote a long paper about it, discussing where he cited John Southworth from CoinGeek and referenced the Satoshi Nakamoto fireside chat with Jimmy Wynn. Pretty fascinating stuff. But here's the big takeaway about this Genius Act, because it's already the law. We're coming into like an opportunity for small banks, because the smaller sized banks, the mid-market banks, they're going to be facing a extinction within the next 3 years, I would say, if they do not come on board and get their head around what they have to do to comply with the Genius Act. This is going to be a death sentence for any small, mid-size, mom and pop banks, state banks, community banks, if they don't quickly get up to speed with what's going on. Because there's a new financial system that's going to be built on top of the Genius Act, under the legislation, Congress, committees, and we are going to be a part of building that new financial system. We really are. I mean, it's not just some dictator, it's us. We're going to be the ones putting this framework together. We got 3 years to do it at the right time, the right place, the right age. We got the right people, the right connections. we're a part of pushing this forward and building this new financial system. So with that, these smaller size state banks, I need to really put a Satoshi Insiders Club together. I need to put an Insiders Club together to get these people, corralled into a group to where like we can really help educate them and show them, look, here's what you got to do to get on board with this new system, how it works, how can you be compliant, and how can you get approved to where you're not going to be breaking some laws later. I mean, I know how to do that, dude. So that being said, we really need to get behind this Genius Act and of course the Clarity Act and getting familiar with it. So we posted more content about it. I really don't have a site to go to right now or anything like to drive traffic, but I just want to get the word out there to kind of like plant the seed to keep an eye on my channel right here, dude. Subscribe if you haven't already. You're going to get a value. If you're just watching for the first time, or if you're actually, been watching for a long time, thank you. But if you're seeing it for the first time and you don't really know too much about what's going to happen with this new financial system, the actual bills and the legislation that are going to affect mid, small size, community size banks and the new financial system coming forward, that's already the law. It's happening. So it's not like, oh, maybe it's happening. It's going to happen 1,000,000%. It's happening. And we are going to be a part of shaping it and keeping the states to have their 10th Amendment power. And that's very, very important. We don't want to just put everything over the federal government to let the federal government do everything. No, state banks need to have power. I do believe in that. 10th Amendment powers are absolutely critical. We got to have that. That's why I'm supporting this, to getting behind it. And keep an eye on the Clarity Act. All right, we've got about 10 days till committees on that. And then they'll go into some discussions and it'll probably press forward in March. And when that sucker passes, it will pass. It's going to pass. I just don't know what the final language is going to be. When it passes, people get ready. There's a train a-coming, and you don't need a ticket. Just climb on board. That's the truth. All right, hit the ones. My name is Gavin Mehl. I will see you at the top.